Good day, YouTube. Aldwin here, your host here on the Pagan Perspective for Thursdays. Today's question is a very, very long and in-depth question. This particular person, May Woods, did a great job with the resources, with the links. This is probably one of the most sophisticated questions I've seen, at least in recent memory. So great props over to May Woods for doing such a great job with providing resources and links and things and such. To kind of summarize the question, I'll put it, of course, like we always do, down below so you can kind of examine it. But on the surface of the question, it basically boils down to do we hate Christians? How do we deal with Christians? And how do you befriend Christians? And I think in order to attack that question, I think it's very important to realize that Christian or Christians is a umbrella term, just like pagan is. There's many different types of backgrounds of pagans. Some people are born into paganism. Some people are witches. Some people aren't. So it's important to give Christians the same respect and the same scientific research when you are talking about Christians, because again, similar to pagans, we're not all the same. We don't follow the same rules. Some of us are Wiccan, some of us aren't, some of us are eclectic and things. So with Christians, there's a vast amount of different backgrounds. Some people are born into Christianity. Some people are brought into it later on when they have certain situations dealing with substance abuse and so on and so forth. And they're looking to be reborn and have their life changed. So they find their way to Christianity, just like someone may find their life to paganism under similar circumstances. Some of the major contributors to the idea of Christianity. Now, this may cause a bit of a stir with some people because the Catholic Church, I'm just going to go out there and say it, they've been kind of painted with this light that they've stolen many of the rituals and some of the spiritualism from pagans. And it's even said that they have gone in and destroyed pagan temples and built their actual places of worship, their churches, on pagan sites. Now, one school of thought provides lots of research on it. They provide links and things where you can see that there may have been pagan sites upon which the pagan church had built themselves upon. The other side of the argument is that that isn't something that happened, that it was a happy, friendly exchange, and the people who call themselves pagans happily, went ahead and converted over for a number of reasons. If you want my personal opinion, I'll just come out and say it. I believe that the Catholic Church of old engaged in a information war, a power struggle. I believe people were killed. I believe people were tortured. And I believe people were made to kind of hide their spiritualism in the form of Christianity. So when we bring these things up, when we talk about how do you become a friend with a Christian, I think it's important to understand the full spectrum of this. Modern Christians today, you're going to find a lot of people who are Baptists, Lutherans. You're going to find people who are Church of the Latter-day Saints. You're going to find people who find the Church of the Latter-day Saints more attractive. You're going to find Jehovah's Witnesses and things, and they believe vastly different things. Like I've said earlier, some of them eat different food. Some of them handle their electronics differently. But for the most part, being Christian, there's a kind of connection to the Abrahamic religion, based religion. And it all kind of falls back into one of their holy books called the Holy Bible. And in that Bible, it's a highly contested situation that comes about because people point to many different Bible verses and things that talk about how the God of the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the name is Yahweh, doesn't want anyone to worship any other God other than him. So some people take that to believe that there isn't any God in the universe other than Yahweh or Elohim of the Holy Bible. I'm one of the people who fall into the school of thought that no, that means that's a confirmation that other gods and goddesses exist, and that Elohim or Yahweh of the Bible is warning you under pain of discomfort to not follow those other gods and goddesses. I believe that people who call themselves pagan don't follow Yahweh or Elohim. They follow the gods that Yahweh and Elohim warned you not to follow. We can get into a discussion about which gods were first. We can talk about some of the cuneiform writings. We can talk about some of the Hindu gods, which, if I'm not mistaken, is some of the oldest gods found on paper and stone today. And we can talk about who was first until we're all blue in the face. But there is research out there that shows that Christianity came about well after paganism. If you break paganism down to its basic concepts and just basically say that pagans don't have any direct link to the Abrahamic religions. Now, as far as addressing how do you befriend someone who comes from a Christian background, I've talked about it before in giving them the litmus test. If you follow chemistry anyway, litmus test is just finding out how acidic a liquid is. The reason why I say that is because some Christians can be quite abrasive, quite acidic when they find out that you don't follow Elohim or Yahweh. However, some of them don't even understand that Yahweh or Elohim is the name of the God that's in the book that they're worshiping. So there's a whole different level of, some people would say, intelligence. Some people would say that some Christians lack intelligence. Some people would say they're more sheep in that they follow blindly behind what a pastor or preacher says. If you want my opinion on that, I believe lack of intelligence can be found anywhere. I'm not going to sit here and say that pagans are overall more intelligent than Christians, but what I will say is that I believe our minds are a bit more free, because I grew up in a household where I was expected and I was brought in, I was Christianed. I was brought into Christian Baptist way of thinking. It took me years to break away from that. And I believe even my spirit guides, it took them lots of energy to pull me toward other books, to have me pick up a book with spells, to have me read books about witchcraft, to break me out of that mindset. So I would say pagans aren't necessarily more smart than Christians. I say that we're more free in the way we think. And again, I say that because as I was making my transition from Christianity to nothing, to paganism, to Wicca, and then to shamanic witchcraft and meditations and traveling around astral realms, it was a long process. It wasn't just something I just picked up a book and tried. I've taken spell books to church and I was told to take them back, and I've gone through what many people have gone through. As far as befriending Christians, one of my dearest friends to this day, and I believe she's an extremely gifted shamanic practitioner, but she just doesn't agree with her gifts. We've had discussions. We've talked about her powers. We've talked about the fact that she can easily slip in and out of her body. She can go in these different realms. She's had conversations with beings from other places. She's incredibly gifted. However, she identifies as a Christian. She will not go to certain realms. She will not speak with certain entities because of her Christianity. She's Christian Baptist, in case you were wondering. That, I believe, slowed her progression. I believe that trapped her in her current evolution right now. She can't see past this Christian thing. And I'm torn heavily because I love her. She is my best friend. She's one of the first people I came out to, that I told that I was gay. She's one of the first people I've showed my partners to. I love her with all my heart and spirit, but I can't seem to break the Christian shell around her. And now, how we are friends, I hit her with the litmus test. I brought up things about Kemetic backgrounds. I talked about Egyptian gods with her, and she seemed intrigued. When people are responsive to pagan ideas and they're Christian, those people are gold, because those people are going to be the allies. They're going to be the ones who are going to defend you if you're in college, or if you're in high school, or if you're in a work environment where everyone is Christian and you're the only pagan. They're going to be the ones that go, you know what? Yes, they wear a star, but that star is not the devil's star. Or they may dress a certain way at certain times in the month. They're not weird. That's their religion. Leave them alone. Those people are very good to have with you. So once they pass the litmus test, I would say talk to them a little bit more. Talk to them about, when they became Christian, how long have they been Christian. See if you can take them to a pagan store. Believe it or not, this friend that I'm telling you about, she took me to one of my first stores where I was able to purchase pagan items, a witchy store, if you will. She took me there. She took me to many places in and around the area that sells different types of roots and different types of ingredients for spell work and stuff. And honestly, I believe that's her guides trying to break that Christian shell and get to her spirit and teach her who she is from the inside out. But it's a long process for her, as it was for me. So just to answer the question, this is a very complex. It requires lots and lots of thought and attention to this question. You just have to really be a people's person. You have to talk to people. If they are acidic, if they are corrosive about the idea of you being pagan, if they're thinking that you work for the devil, it's going to be hard to be a friend with that person. That's probably not the kind of Christian that you want to be a friend. You want to find people who are receptive. You want to find people who have connections with pagan roots, but they are Christian. For example, this friend I'm telling you about, her family's from Louisiana. Her grandfather was a practitioner of hoodoo. This is links to her true, in my opinion, her true religion. So if you can find someone who is open, who's willing to talk about pagan concepts, who does have a connection to witchcraft in some way, or hoodoo, or what have you, whatever their background is, those are going to be the people who are more willing to work with you. On the pagan perspective, well, our very own Rich, he is a crystal witch, and that's an amazing thing to have someone who's that open, who's that willing to accept some of paganism and then still roll it into their personal beliefs because that's what's right for him on his particular path. If you find someone like that, that's another person who's going to be an ally for you. They're going to help you in situations like I mentioned at work if they think you're the weirdo wearing the devil's cross or what have you. And I believe that's about all I have to say about it. I mean, it's just the aspect of finding good people. Some people are just not meant to be your friend. People who are acidic and corrosive and doubtful about who you are and what you feel is right. Those people aren't your friends. You shouldn't have to bend over backwards to befriend a Christian. It's fine to have an argument. I take that back. It's fine to have a healthy debate. But if it breaks down into arguing and you guys can't see eye to eye, or you can't agree to disagree in a non-confrontational manner, then that person is not your friend. Friendship is and always depends on what can you do for that person and what can they do for you. It's an agreement. It's a mutual agreement to work together to do something. So people are getting benefits, not the classic friends with benefits, but people are getting benefits. Perhaps this friend is very strong when it comes to fashion and you're very strong when it comes to technology. You share those skills and both you and your friends' lives are complete. So I would say that someone that has a background that's connected to pagan beliefs, you might be able to bring them into their own religion just by talking about a particular god or a particular holiday when they were already curious about it to begin with. Those are the ones you want to be a friend with. Don't ever go toward the ones who degrade you, who talk bad about you, who say that you're going to hell. Those, you just can't make those people friends because right off of the bat, they are and pretty much may always be adversaries. They always want to hurt you or always want to prove that their religion's real or more real than yours and pull you toward their God. So I hope this answered the question for you. It's a wonderful question. Like I said, probably one of the most well thought out questions, most researched questions I've ever seen on this channel. I look forward to more questions like these with more resources. Guys, if you are curious at all, go down, check those links down below, read some of these things that they have put there. It's a lot of research. I want to warn you, it's a lot of research to do if you're curious about Christianity and how it may connect with paganism, especially the Catholicism and how they have been kind of painted with the idea that they've stolen a lot of things from us pagans. Next week is Sept's week, so I won't be here, but I'll see you the first or second week of October. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I wish you all the best. Blessed be.